This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Infinity Summit Group podcast. Today is June 21st, 2021. Welcome, everybody. I'm Noah.
Xavier.
Logan.
Jesse.
And we got a special guest here today, Bailey. Want to tell the guests a little bit about yourself, if you got anything?
Yeah.
Sam, Bailey, whatever.
My name's Bailey. I've known you guys for quite a while now. Thanks for having me on, by the way.
Yeah. It's taken a long time, but we finally got him.
Finally, yeah. Yeah, I've been crazy busy, mostly just work, real estate, being out of town. But yeah.
That's way awesome. Perfect. So let's jump right into it, actually. Real estate, is that like a self-employed real estate thing? Do you work for real estate, something?
Yeah, self-employed. So I manage, renovations and basically flip mobile homes here in Salt Lake. So yeah, that's my full-time gig, and I currently don't have any partners or full-time employees right now. So yeah, just doing it on my own.
That's awesome.
How did you get into that?
I knew that I wanted to get into real estate. Is this on all right? You can hear me?
That's
okay?
perfect.
That was perfect.
I haven't used one of these before, so I knew that I wanted to get into real estate when I was pretty young. I've always known that that's where I wanted to end up. And when I got out of high school, I read all the famous books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and so I was all jazzed about it. And so I wanted to get into it, and I didn't really have the credit or the income or the experience to really take on a huge project. Especially like a rehab of, a larger home, you're talking 2,000 square feet and, I didn't really have the experience. And so I started looking around at, maybe some other options. Maybe I could, like get a duplex and, renovate one side of it while I lived in the other. And a lot of it just kind of seemed, I was either priced out or just didn't really have the experience to take it on. And so I found it was kind of weird. I had an aunt that was working at a mobile home park down in right on the border of Arizona and Utah. And she was telling me about how much these things were renting for. You can rent them out for, $800-900 a month, and usually you could pick them up for $10,000, and you'd have a bit of renovations to do. But they pay for themselves, within 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. So I figured that was a good place to start. I didn't have any cash or anything, but luckily I'd been banking with Mountain America for a long time, and so I was able to pull out a personal loan. They gave me $15,000 as a personal loan, and so I was able to go down there and buy a single-wide mobile home. Bought it for $12,000, burned through my personal loan pretty quick, but then I also had a credit card with them for $5,000. So it was basically entirely on credit. I was paying like 17% interest, but the numbers were so good that it still penciled out.
Right.
So I was into that one probably like 18.5. After everything was said and done, a little 3-bed, 1-bath mobile home down there, kind of in the middle of nowhere. You wouldn't think that the rental market would be that good. But I actually still hold that one today. It rents out for $850 a month, and I've actually never met the tenant that's in there. She's a dream, but still cash flowing off that thing. And so that's how I got started. From there, I kind of thought that was like a fluke, and I had other businesses going on, so I didn't really give it much attention for another year or two. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to get back into it, and I think this was, I get my months mixed up, but I think last summer was when I jumped back into it full time, and I've just been doing it since then. So just about a year now.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Heck yeah.
That's crazy.
So that one, your original one is all paid off now, I assume, and everything?
I believe I actually refinanced it to just pull out more money.
Yeah.
Basically any money I can get that's
Imagine
under.
the equity's gone up a little bit in it.
Yeah, I was paying down the loan. It was only a 5-year term, so I paid down the loan quite a bit. And so I refinanced it at a lower rate. So I think I'm at like 10% now. And basically any money I can get beneath 10 or 12% I'll take. So I actually refinanced it just to pull the money out to do more deals. So.
Yeah, dang. So do you do all the mobile home renovations and stuff down like southern Utah, or do you do it just all over?
So I've only done the one down there in southern Utah. Mm-hmm. There was an interesting deal I was partnered on down in like southern Arizona, a little bit east of Phoenix, where I was remodeling trailers and stuff. But that's kind of a separate deal. I was partnered on that, so I don't own much of it. But all the other deals I do in Salt Lake. So I had the one down there in southern Utah, and then Up here in Salt Lake, I think I'm getting ready to sell my 4th or 5th one on Friday. I've got 2 that are under contract right now, and I just sold one down in Provo. So, and then I did one out in Tooele a couple months ago. So just the Salt Lake area.
So you just fix and flip them. You don't necessarily fix and rent them for the most part.
Yeah. Lately, I've just been flipping them because I want to just generate more and more cash, you know,
Right.
so I can do more deals. The margins are really good. But I've actually explored, like, it's kind of interesting with mobile homes. You can hold a note on them when you sell them. So, you know, say you're selling it for 25 grand, you could have somebody come in with 10,000 down and hold a $15,000 note, and you will basically just be a lien holder on the property. And so you can have cash flow off of that for the next couple of years. So for example, this one out in Murray that I'm selling on Friday, she offered 55,000 for it. And she had 40,000 cash. So I'm going to take the 40,000 cash, and then she's got a $15,000 note at 7%. So it'll cash flow me just about $300 a month for the next 5 years. So I was able to, you know, make my initial investment back, about double it, and then have the cash flow for the next couple of years. So I'm probably going to start doing, you know, one flip and one note just so I can start building up more residual income. So that's something I'm looking into. But the number, I don't know, it's hard to stop flipping once you've started because the money's really good, but you have to, you know, keep finding deals. Like as soon as you finish one project, you've got to be on to the next and on to the next. So,
Right.
So yeah, making that transition a little bit now.
And are you doing all the physical labor yourself, or are you hiring it out, or?
I've transitioned. I'm happy to say that I now only do probably 20 to 30% of the work myself. The first mobile home I did 100% of it myself. I maybe hired out probably not even 3%. I had a couple cousins come for a day or two.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started out just doing everything, and I didn't know a lot of the trades. So I mean, I taught myself how to do drywall on YouTube, and I was trying to figure out
Drywall's fun.
Yeah, trying to figure out how to do electrical, blowing out circuits, and you know, just figuring it out. So I learned how to do pretty much every trade on that first trailer, and then the second one I did, you know, pretty much all the labor, and I've slowly transitioned. My goal for, I think it was the beginning of second quarter this year, was to outsource 50% of every renovation I do. So basically to make sure that there's at least one other guy working on the job anytime I'm there, or, you know, calculate it somehow like that.
Yeah.
And I'm down to about 20 or 30%. As I start to do more deals, it gets a little bit easier to sort of like calculate your hourly wage. And so I can, you know, set a rate and say anything below, you know, $30 an hour. Like if I can get any job done at $30 an hour or less, I have to hire it out. You know, I have to kind of draw that line, because anytime I put on a tool belt for a job that's $30 an hour or less, then I'm losing money, right?
Right.
So it gets a little bit easier when you have a little bit more cash, you know. The first couple ones I was strapped, I mean, I was on a credit card, and I mean, I didn't really have much to front the money. But now I'm getting to a point where I can, which is nice. Not having to do the drywall or the plumbing or,
Yeah. And do you have I'm curious, do you have like a full business kind of setup around it? Do you have like LLC kind of thing, or?
Yeah, so I have an LLC. It's basically the same one I've used since I was 18 years old. My dad actually set it up for me when I was like 12 or 14, because he knew that eventually I was going to want to start a business. And it's kind of nice to be able to walk into a bank and say that your business is like 8 years old when you're, you know,
Right.
19. And so it's the same one that I've had set up forever, and I've used it for flipping homes. I've used it for crypto. I've used it for trailers. I basically just ran everything through that.
Right.
Which might not be the smartest way to do. I think technically, like if you were to talk to an accountant or a lawyer, they would tell you to have, you know, be able to draw a line around each individual entity so that you'd reduce risk and whatnot. But yeah, that's how I've just run everything so far. So.
How do you actually find the tenants for the rental properties, or do you have someone else do it for you?
I've done it. So I've the one rental, I actually just posted it on Facebook and found them that way. That's a really good way to find renters. I know there's, like, if you're using like a property management company or something, they've got all these different websites for it. But for me, Facebook seems to be the best. I also like the idea of being able to like see their Facebook profile, and you can usually get a pretty good idea of somebody just based on that. So yeah, the limited amount of experience I've had in that, it's just been on Facebook. But yeah, I know there's a lot of other routes. Some people will put up, you know, signs, and I know there's websites specifically for that. But yeah, you know, regardless of the source, they're all going to fill out the same application, do a background check, credit check. So those are the big things. Is it doesn't really matter where they come from, as long as you're making sure, you know, they've got a clean background, good credit. They're not, you know, in a crazy amount of debt. So.
Okay.
And how can you set that up to where they? Because I just barely started renting an apartment. How do you set up like all the papers and stuff to where you can check their credit and whatnot?
Good question. Yeah. So there's the easiest way I've found to do it is through a website called Cozy. I actually don't use it anymore, but if I were like starting out and like trying to screen renters or tenants, that's how I would do it. It's basically there's a lot of like rent collection softwares where it's like several products built into one, so you can collect rent, run background and credit checks, send out like requests for maintenance and whatnot. So that's probably the easiest way to do it because it's set up specifically for tenants. And what you can do is you fill out their information, it'll send them an email, and they actually buy the screening report, and then it'll just run it on them automatically and bring you the results. There are some other websites you can use online that are meant for, like employers or something different, but usually it's easier. Either Cozy, I use Buildium, which is it's more expensive, but a much better software. Okay. But yeah, there's, and by the time 3 months from now, I'm sure there'll be another one out there that's really, there's all kinds of crazy cool companies out there doing it, so.
So I've heard with mobile home stuff, that purchasing the land can even be beneficial. Have you looked into that at all, where you purchase the land and then they just have the mobile home on top of it and they rent from you?
Yeah. I would love to do that at some point. The real difficult part is zoning. There are some like more rural areas. Like I've seen lots for sale that are zoned for mobile homes down in like Price.
No kidding. I thought they just weren't building mobile homes anymore.
No, actually, more mobile homes have been purchased this year than ever before. All the manufacturers are booked out. So if you're on their list already, then they're booked out probably 18 months. If you, like at the beginning of, or I think the end of last year, they basically said, we're not accepting any new customers whatsoever. So you can't even like get on a list for our homes because we're so booked out. And then at the beginning of this year, they said, okay, if you haven't been doing business with us for more than a year, then we won't even take your call. We won't even place orders. So all the mobile homes have been purchased like crazy the last couple of years, and all the manufacturers are super backed up. And some of that is a supply chain issue with lumber and everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're building a ton of them, and they can be moved. So if there's a lot that's zoned for mobile homes, a lot of times from what I've heard, the best way to find a lot that's zoned for mobile homes is to find one that already has a mobile home on it. Mm-hmm. And usually it'll be like if you find a lot that has like a really broken down mobile home that you wouldn't want to use, you could move a new mobile home on there, or newer mobile home.
Okay.
So yeah, I would love to do that at some point. The dilemma is in Salt Lake, there's not a lot of land that's zoned for that.
Right.
Utah actually has less mobile home parks than most states out there. So it's a lot less common. If you go down to, Arizona, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, all along there's a lot more, and you'll find like there's
kind of the Bible Belt area.
Yeah, their zoning restrictions are a lot looser, so you can put mobile homes on a lot of land down there. A little bit more difficult here, but you have a lot of benefits that way, being able to just hold on to the land that appreciates. That's the big downside with mobile homes is they're not going to appreciate over time, which is appreciation is powerful in real estate. That's a big reason to invest. So if you're able to have the cash flow of mobile homes, but also hang on to the land and let that appreciate over time, that would be awesome. So yeah, I've looked at a couple opportunities like that. And yeah, if one comes across my desk that looks like a good deal, I'd be super excited about it. But they're pretty rare in Utah, at least. Mm-hmm. So,
do you ever partner with anyone? I know you said you did, but do you do it with like your dad or anything like that for a bigger deal? Do you plan to?
No, I have not partnered with my dad before. I've considered taking out loans from family. If I wasn't able to make a deal happen, I actually, for this flip I did over in Murray. There's a guy that I met at kind of a weird, like I met him at some networking thing like 2 years ago, and we stayed in touch like every 3 months or so. And I was just telling him about what I did like probably 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, if you ever need any money, he's a real estate investor. So it's like, if you ever need any money, let me know. And so this Murray deal came up, and I already had money invested in 2 other mobile homes. So I had the one in Provo and one in West Jordan. So all of my cash was entirely invested in those. But the Murray one was a great deal. So I came to him with it, and he was able to fund the deal within, it had to have been like 48 hours, maybe 3 days. I just sent him all all of the numbers on it, and I showed him the deals I've done previously to kind of show him I know what I'm doing.
Right.
I was able to show him like pictures of the remodels I've done and just the margins that I had on those other ones. And so, I pulled out a $20,000 loan with him. I ended up paying him an insane amount of interest, but it made it worth it because I actually paid him off, I think, last Wednesday. And now I'm going to sell this one, and it's well worth the interest I paid. But so he's got enough cash that anytime I need money, I just call him up and he says, now that this deal's gone well, he says, I've basically got a line of credit with you, and if you need any deals funded, then just give me a call and I can have it within 4 hours. So
that's awesome.
So once you start to kind of like show people that you know what you're. I mean, there's so much money out there that's just looking for a place to go. Like this. I guess if I'm not saying his name, this guy in particular just has several $100,000 that's just sitting to the side because single-family homes are so overpriced right now and competitive that he can't really flip any homes. And so there's a lot of people that just have cash sitting to the side that need to put it somewhere, need to be making a return. It's just losing 3% a year to inflation, just rotting away. So there's a lot of people.
Unless we're talking about this last year, then it's like 10%. But
yeah, they claim 3, but I don't quite buy it.
No.
If they use the same figures, I heard that they changed the way they calculated it in the 70s. Like in the 70s, we had just crazy high inflation, and they changed the way they calculated it. But I've heard that if they used the same calculation, we would be in the double digits as far as inflation goes. So I don't know. It's hard to say, hard to count, but
wow. Definitely believe it. Well, you just look at all the prices of everything.
Yeah.
Just from last year, it's crazy.
Wood, steel, all of it. Yeah.
Well, and that's part of kind of a supply and demand issue as well. But yeah. So with these mobile homes, are you looking out of state at all, or are you mostly just Utah?
For the time being, I've just been in Salt Lake. I actually would like to expand into like the Phoenix market.
Okay.
Because mobile homes are really hot down there. And
they don't melt, do they?
No, not quite. But I'm sure they're close. But yeah, there's a lot more inventory down there. Things in Salt Lake right now are just wild. You can't really find any deals on market right now. You have to find all your deals off market or homes that need like a ridiculous amount of remodeling. Like this last home I got it for such a good deal, but I had to. I mean, it was new sheetrock, new flooring, new paint throughout. I had to redo the windows. I framed in a new bedroom. So I mean, it was new paint outside. It was just unreal, the amount of work that went into it.
That's a lot of work for a mobile home.
Yeah, so, and that's why I got it for such a good deal is most buyers, that's the thing with mobile homes is there's not a ton of investors out there that do mobile homes. And so typically whoever you're selling to is an end buyer. So they're not looking to do that much work. And that's one of the reasons I am able to get deals on mobile homes versus single family homes. It's way harder to get a deal right now is it's just not as saturated. Most of the people that are buying a mobile home are living in it. So they're not going to want to tear down walls and, put in new carpet and whatnot. So
I was going to ask you how tough your competition is out there, because competition right now with everything else real estate is insane.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, there are getting to be a couple more mobile home investors in the area, but even with that, it's pretty uncommon. People don't like mobile homes, rightly so, for, a number of reasons. They're not a very sexy asset class.
No.
They're dirty and they smell bad and they don't look great. And they also don't appreciate over time. That's the big thing that people have an issue with is, most real estate you're holding, you're able to leverage it a lot more, and then it's going to appreciate over time, and you're making appreciation on the full value of the asset. So it's leveraged appreciation.
Right.
And with mobile homes, you don't really have that, which is a turnoff for a lot of people. But in my opinion, if you look at the numbers a little bit closer, I think a lot of people don't realize the margins.
Sure, they make up for it in cash flow.
Yeah, cash flow and flipping them too. So I do love like single family real estate, and I would love to get involved in that. If things ever simmer down a little bit. But yeah, from like a retail buyer's point of view, it's super oversaturated, and then from an investor's point of view, it's super saturated. So there is deals to be made, if you're willing to put in the work. But yeah, it's difficult right now. So.
So I'm curious, what's the average down payment on a mobile home around the Salt Lake area that you got to put down? Because it's 20%, isn't it?
20% financed.
Right. Yeah.
No. So all the ones that I buy, I just buy with cash. I just cash them out.
Oh, okay.
So I guess there are some ways you can get loans. As an investor, it's difficult to get a mortgage through like a third-party lender. So there's like Vanderbilt Mortgage, 21st Mortgage, and those are more for like resident or like, end buyers, retail. For investors, there's not a lot of options as far as financing goes. So all of them I just buy, cash in hand. So most of them are my favorite, like my bread and butter deal is going to be into it about 20,000, give or take 5,000.
Yeah.
There's deals. I mean, there's some mobile homes in the Salt Lake area that are going for 120,000. So I mean, there's actually some really luxurious ones. I have a harder time with the, normally those are like 55 and up communities, and they're a little bit more difficult to work with. So my average deal, I'm into them about 20 for purchase. So I guess to give you an idea, the one I did in Provo, I bought that one for 14. I think I was into it 19. I did one out in Tooele, same deal. I bought it for 12. I was into it 20. West Jordan.
If you don't mind us asking, what did you sell these for? What was your numbers? If you don't mind us asking about it.
So down in Provo, I was into that one 19, and I sold it for 30. But I had to pay a realtor $3,000. So I pulled. I don't think I was into it quite 19. So I pulled almost 10K on that one. In Tooele, I was into that 20, and I sold it for 40. But again, I had to pay a realtor $4,000. In West Jordan, I was into that one. I bought it. It was actually in great condition. It just needed a new furnace. So I bought it for 20, put a new furnace in, and updated some of the fixtures. So I was into that one probably like 23, 24. And I sold that one last Wednesday for 50.
Damn.
Had to pay a realtor $5,000 on that one. And then this one out in Murray is going to be my best deal yet. I think I'll be into that one. I might be into it like 26 tops, and it's under contract for 55. So we'll see this Friday if she's got an inspection, and if the inspection goes well, then she'll close. But yeah, we'll see. So the margins are really good.
That's insane.
But there is a bit of a barrier to entry as far as purchasing them, because I mean you have to come with a fair amount of cash in hand.
Yeah.
Because you're into them 20, and then labor, and they get more expensive as I hire more workout, obviously, because I'm not doing it myself. But as you start to scale up, you can afford to do that. So yeah, the margins are really great. But yeah, it's just a matter of finding the deals at this point. I need to start marketing a little more.
Yeah, and what do you look for in a good deal? Because I know there's like, for single family homes, you've got like the 1% of total cost per month.
1% rule.
Yeah, exactly.
For
Rule of thumb.
yeah.
So what's a rule of thumb for mobile homes that you use?
I mean, you're going to run similar numbers on mobile homes. Typically, like if the numbers were the exact same for a mobile home and a single family home, obviously you're going to go for single family home because they're going to appreciate. You can leverage them a lot easier. You can get a lot better interest rates. There's a lot better tax deductions depending on your investment strategy. So you're going to have to factor that in when you're doing a mobile home, and it has to be a pretty sweet deal to skip over all those benefits, right?
Right.
So I mean, as far as a rental goes, the 1% rule is basically 1% of the asset's value per month, right? So I'm trying to do the math on it.
I forgot the term. But.
Yeah, if I'm into like that one down in southern Utah or northern Arizona, I guess technically it's across the border, I think. I'm trying to think of what percent that would be. I'm making $850, but then I think I'm cash flowing around $550 a month, and I'm into that 20,000. So I guess that would be like a 25% rule. So the numbers are significantly better, but it's not an asset that I can just hold on to for the next 20 years and ride it. I'm going to have to either sell it or it's going to be too old to use at some point. So I mean, for like a larger investor, like if you had like $500,000 to invest, it might not make as much sense because mobile homes are smaller transactions. You'd have to do a lot of deals in order to get that money moving. So I think for me personally, I'm willing to put a little bit more work in on each deal. And so, the higher percent return is worth it to me. But if you have a lot more money to invest and your time becomes more and more valuable, a lot of times it makes sense to be able to just buy a turnkey property, let it appreciate for the next 20 years, and just rinse and repeat. So it kind of depends on your personal situation. The numbers are phenomenal on pretty much every deal. So, I mean, on a flip, typically I'm making at least 50%, if not doubling my money. And then on a rental, I wouldn't be comfortable getting a rental that I don't get my money back within probably 4 years or 5 years. Yeah, that's probably about as far as rentals go. That's with note investing, it's a little bit different because you have some recourse. So like if they default on the loan, then you can just repossess the home, and so
Right,
your
which
note's a
would
little
be
bit more secure.
nice for you.
So yeah, I'd be comfortable holding a 7-year note because you still have some equity and you still have some recourse there. But yeah, I'd say as far as rentals go, yeah, probably about a 4-year payback, 25% return.
Yeah.
Have you looked into buying the turnkey houses in Tennessee at all?
I have, and I've heard great things about them, and I've heard awful things about them. I've heard that it just comes down to your property manager, as with most
With anything.
Yeah, most investing in real estate investing. So yeah, I've heard that there's killer deals out there. I know there's a couple people that have killed it. I know a couple people that got burned badly just because their managers didn't notice, this leak or this, sort of deferred maintenance things that make it a lot more difficult. Because I mean, if you've got with single family rentals, your margins are not that high. And so if you've got issues that aren't taken care of right up front and it starts to kind of snowball, then it's pretty easy to just wipe you out. So I've heard they're great though. And I'm not opposed to like long distance real estate investing either. Like as long as you've got some boots on the ground and somebody that you can rely on, then yeah, I would look at the numbers. And I mean, if you talk to somebody that's had a good experience with a property manager, if I were to give you advice on it, not that I've done it, but I would probably just look into the property manager more than almost anything, because that's kind of who you're trusting to look after your baby over there,
Right.
But I've heard if you get a good property manager, then similar to mobile homes, Tennessee's kind of like, in my mind, similar to mobile homes, where it's lower property values but really high rental markets,
And like no appreciation over there.
Yeah, you're just banking on cash flow is basically what it is. And the houses aren't that nice. They're not in nice neighborhoods. So it's similar to mobile homes where the margins are really high, but it's going to be just a little bit dirtier work. You've got homes that are in rough condition, and if you're not counting on appreciation, I would factor that in as well, because appreciation's a big deal. But yeah, I guess I've heard that you can make good money doing it. So
interesting. I'm a little nervous for it.
Yeah.
To see how it goes.
Yeah, I would pull the trigger on it. I mean, if it looks good I mean, I don't know. You never know until you try it. But I think there's a couple people that have had great. I'm trying to remember who it was that was telling me about it. But I would get in touch with them and see what their experience is. And I know, like, if I were to jump into real estate investing and I was doing single family homes, I would probably look at a market like that where you've got a little bit lower barrier to entry, just because, like, the returns you make right now are a much bigger deal than the returns you make down the road because of the way that, like, money compounds. And so if you're able to make your money work a little bit harder right now, then in the long run it makes a huge difference. And so yeah, it seems, I don't know, long distance freaks me out a little bit just because I'm not there, if something goes wrong. But I mean,
keep an eye on it.
Yeah, but I think it's also healthy to kind of have that mindset of, is it an investment or a business? If it's a business, then you're not there fixing the leaks in the middle of the night. So I like the idea of, like, with long distance real estate investing, you can't really jump, because that's a big problem for me is, like, I know how to do all the trades in a home. And so if something needs done and someone gives me a bid that's kind of high, it's really easy for me to just put on my tool belt and go handle it. But then I'm not out finding deals. I'm not out meeting partners. I'm not out, finding money, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's almost nice to have that distance between the two, because you are forced to establish a business that runs without you,
Right.
which is really the goal, to not have your business own you, right?
Definitely.
So yeah, pros and cons. But I do get a little bit nervous, just, I don't know, mentally having it be that far away.
Yeah.
As you would.
So how did I guess, how do you find the actual mobile home properties, or do you just drive around and be like, oh, hey, that one looks pretty nice?
Yeah, I actually, so driving for dollars is one thing that a lot of real estate investors do. You just drive around and see if you can find any properties that look nice, that, look like opportunity. Maybe it's run down a little bit, or it has a for sale by owner sign. I do that every once in a while. I haven't got any deals that way so far. So I'm trying to remember. The 3 deals, so my Tooele, my West Jordan, and my Murray property, I found all 3 of those on Facebook Marketplace, surprisingly. Well,
Wow.
Actually, the Tooele one was on KSL. and I was able to just jump on them really quick. So I was able to go give them cash within like 24 hours of them listing it. And that was really why I was able to get the deal, is I just had cash in hand. And a lot of people, I mean, in mobile homes, you have to pay lot rent every single month. And in some of these nicer parks, like these two parks I'm working in right now, lot rent's like $800 a month. And so if somebody's trying to move out and, you know, they've got it listed too high and they're paying that lot rent every single month, a lot of times they're pretty motivated if you can come in and just say, yeah, I'll be able to close before you have to pay lot rent again. You know, you can get out without paying another rent payment. And so they're a lot more motivated. So yeah, KSL, Facebook Marketplace, I found a lot on. I put out bandit signs, like those yellow signs. And I got my Provo deal from that. Those you don't get as many deals from there, but the deals you do get are going to be much better because they're not on market. So you can usually negotiate a lot better. And yeah, I need to figure out more marketing techniques. I want to start sending out mailers and try different things here and there, because I'm going to have to turn it up a notch if I'm going to find another deal here soon, because these two I'm working on should be wrapped up by the end of this week, and then I'm just looking for another one. So that's kind of the mode I'm in right now. About
how long does it take you to do one of these flips?
It's all over the place. So this Murray one has taken way longer than it should have. I think July 4th will be July 5th will be the 2-month mark, 60 days.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, no. But I mean, the nice part about mobile homes is you're not dealing with as much square footage, and you also have a lower like standard of quality. You know, like things don't have to be absolutely perfect.
Right.
So you can.
They know it's a mobile home park.
Yeah, you can outsource a lot more things. So yeah, 60 days. I don't know. It feels like a long time because my other ones went so quickly. My one out in Tooele I actually worked on for probably 3 months, but that again I did all the work on that myself. Well, I outsourced probably like 3 days worth. So
right.
Yeah, probably like 85%. But yeah. So now that I've got a system in place, like the more I work, the quicker I am, just because I can walk into a place and know exactly what needs done. And a big part of construction or renovations, I guess, is knowing the like order that things need to be completed. Because if you do a certain trade before another one, then all of a sudden, you know, your flooring's dirty and now you've got to find a carpet cleaner, or, you know, you did all the drywall and now you've got to tear this out because you forgot to put a switch in, or, you know, things like that. So the more you do, you learn kind of a system or a process.
Get a good flow down.
Yeah. So each one I do, I get a little bit quicker, and I also just meet people that are good help. You know, I've gone through a lot of guys that just suck, and you know, they're cheap but they're awful. My guy right now, I pay him $25 an hour cash, and best money I've ever spent. And I can have him out and he'll do the work of 3 people. And so he's been a huge help, just because he knows how to do virtually every single trade. I'm having him out tomorrow to do some trim. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, it gets a lot quicker. Like this Murray one, now I've got a drywall crew, like a hanging crew and a taping crew for drywall, and I've got framers now. So as you go on and on and on, you learn the process a little bit better and meet people that make it quicker. And you also just learn how to manage crews better. Like it was kind of interesting. This Murray one, I bought it, and right after I bought it, I basically, my entire next like 5 weeks were booked out and I was going to be out of town. So that like between, I think I told you I was in, trying to remember the sequence. I was in Hawaii and then Texas and then California, San Diego, and then down in Cancun, all in the span of 5 weeks. And each of those trips was like 5 to 7, 10 days. So I had to outsource like virtually everything on this one, and I had to like all the different crews had to coordinate and figure out who needs to come when, and it kind of forced me, kind of like I was just telling Logan with the long distance kind of thing. It kind of forces you to build more of a business than like for me personally. I'm more have you ever read The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki? It's basically talking about like whether you're self-employed or a business owner.
Yeah.
So a business owner can leave and the business runs better than when he was there. He could leave for a year and it would still be running better when he came back because there's such a strong system. So like for me, I'm very much self-employed. If I'm not there every single day, then things don't get done. And so when I was out of town like that, I had to entirely rely on the crews that I knew, some of the guys I didn't know, but I got a good bid from them, and I had to find ways to check their work remotely or have other guys check their work, which is even better. So over time you get a little bit better at that. You just learn with every job. It's a little different. So
is this fun? Does it excite you to go find deals and
Yeah, I love it. I don't know. I've always loved working with my hands or doing like construction type stuff. I kind of grew up just doing a lot of little things around, learning from my dad and whatnot. So I really enjoy that type of thing. And then also just being able to walk into somewhere that's just a shithole and it stinks and there's, cat pee on the carpet, and being able to turn that around into a house that looks good, and I'm eating lunch in there, comfortably, and there's a family that's going to move in that enjoys it, that there's something about that that's like really gratifying. I've done like online businesses. So like I was doing that credit repair business for a while that was entirely online.
What happened to that, by the way?
Kind of fizzled out. A combination of things. Some of the rules and regulations changed, and then my primary source of marketing was through Google AdWords, which is basically like you select a particular keyword, and when people search that, and Google shows it as an ad. So I was spending I can't remember exactly what it was, a couple $100 a day on Google AdWords advertising. So that was like my main source. Like 95% of my business came through there. And then one day Google just sent me a notification and said, we can no longer advertise for this particular keyword. And so everybody that was advertising for that just no longer could. And so they had to rely on like SEO, which is like how early your website pops up when someone searches it, which I didn't have very good SEO. And there was a combination of things. I also had like this massive order come through. It was like, I can't remember how much it was. It was like $6,000 or $8,000 because there was this mortgage broker that had a bunch of clients that he wanted their credit repaired so that he could qualify them. And so he put this huge order in, and something went wrong with it. One of my card holders, like all of her cards got shut down, and it was like just this explosion of, I had to end up paying her for all of the work she did, but then I had to entirely refund his like $6,000 order, and I didn't make any money from it. And so at the end, I ended up getting everybody paid off, but things were kind of going downhill for that particular niche, and so I decided it was time to jump into something else. And that's really when I started looking at mobile homes a lot more heavy. And I guess it just kind of fizzled out after that. Decided it was time. I'd been working on it for like 2 years, and it had done well. I learned a lot from it. But yeah, I was just ready to move on to something else, I guess. So yeah, but what I was saying, I've done a lot like online businesses. Like I was doing like an Amazon thing for a little while, and it's fun. Like as far as scalability goes, there's a lot more potential there. It's a lot easier to scale up, but there's just a certain level of fulfillment that you don't get with that type of business. Like being able to walk away from a job at the end of the day and see what everybody got done, and like see the physical improvement. It's kind of nice. So I don't know if that's what I'll always do. I'm sure I'll move back into some form of online business at some point, but there's something really nice about being able to just go out and see, a real difference at the end of the day. So I don't know. I enjoy it. I really do. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
That's what I really enjoyed about doing garage doors too. When you're throwing them in and you improve someone's house, But I imagine this is even better because you're owning your own business while doing that. Yeah, it's similar. Pros and cons. But same concept. That's awesome. So, important question for you. What do you do to diversify it, or are you only in real estate?
I don't believe in a lot of diversification. Nobody's ever diversified themselves into wealth. I think you concentrate yourself into wealth, and then once you attain that, you can, diversify in order to keep it. But I think I'm not saying go bet it all on black, at the casino, but I think like if you've got a good idea of what you want to do and you think you have good odds of making that happen, I think it's a pretty smart bet to just go all in and focus on that. So that's kind of my take. I don't really believe in diversification right now because where I'm at, and obviously I haven't been burned before, so I'm pretty green right now. So maybe I'm gonna look back on this a couple years from now.
Still that kid with the glint in his eye.
The
world's good.
It kind of depends. I think I don't know. It kind of depends on like where your money is currently. So like if you're working like a full-time job and you really don't have time to go out and actively invest, then I think it is smart to diversify across. If you're in stocks or crypto or real estate or whatever it is. For me, I'm basically entirely real estate and crypto. And it's worked out so well because we're in a bull market, right? But I don't know. I'm not big in diversification right now. I think some people go a little crazy with it. And it's nice if you have a lot of money and you're trying to hold on to it and preserve it, then absolutely, I think that's a great idea. But you see people go split their money between, 17 different things, and it's like, if any of those ever really take off, it doesn't really make much of a difference for you,
Right.
So, I mean, I think if you were asking me what the safest thing to do is, then absolutely diversify. But I don't know. I guess I have different, I don't know. I either want to make it big or not, I don't really want to just kind of coast by. So I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah. So what cryptos do you hold then, if you don't mind us asking?
Yeah, luckily I was able to, I cashed out everything, all of my crypto for this Murray deal about 45 days ago when the market was pretty peaked.
That's
So yeah, I hold a lot of different things. I actually, yesterday I dumped another $5,000 into Polkadot, just to kind of play around with it. Prior to that, I was holding Polkadot, Kusama, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and then I had probably my bottom 20% was just like coins I would kind of play with, ride them out for a week
Random
or so.
stuff.
Yeah, just little coins here and there. But yeah, my two biggest holdings were Polkadot and Kusama, and those did pretty well. I bought those earlier this year, and I moved them all to an exchange that allowed you to stake them on the exchange, and they paid you a 12% interest rate on those. And so they appreciated by I don't know, 400%, but then I was also getting paid 12%. They pay you out like twice a week. So yeah, those were my Kusama and Polkadot were my two biggest holdings, partially because of that, because I like just being able to have them on there earning an interest rate. But yeah, I cashed out most of it. It was actually perfect timing. I was nervous I was going to miss out on some huge gains, but I was like, well, I've got to, I make better money doing trailers, so I have to cash it all out right now, and hopefully I can flip this quick enough that I can get back in the market. And it ended up working out perfectly. So yeah, right now I'm just holding that small little bit of Polkadot. I'm down a little ways on it since yesterday, but yeah.
We understand.
Yeah, you can feel my pain. I didn't know if you guys are invested in crypto at all.
Yeah. So I'm in one.
I know your grandma is. I helped her buy some, but I
No
don't know
kidding.
about you. Yeah, actually back in 2017, she bought Bitcoin and Ethereum.
I think she told us about that.
Yeah, she was one of the
I didn't know
OGs.
I wonder if she can access it still.
Yeah, she made good money on it.
Oh,
I
heck yeah.
helped her sell some earlier this year, and yeah, she did well. It crashed maybe a month after she bought, and so she lost a lot. But she did. I told her basically don't invest anything that you don't want to lose, you aren't comfortable losing. And so she put in an amount that she didn't even really care about checking. Checking the price of it.
Yeah.
And so she knew it crashed and everything. And when things started coming back up, I reached out to her and I was like, "Hey, have you seen the prices lately?" And so she did well on it, but she had diamond hands for 2 years. So,
Yeah.
Nice.
That's where I'm gonna have to be too.
Yeah.
Do you do gold or silver or any of that?
I don't. I do have the silver coin that Noe gave me. That is one of my prized. That's 30% of my precious metals holdings. So yeah, I've got a couple silver coins. But same deal with. I mean, I look for a lot more appreciation. If I had a lot more money, then I would love gold and silver.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm not. I mean, they're just really stable. So I think if you're asking me, should I hold U.S. dollars or silver? I'd say silver, right? But if you've got something that's yielding you, way better returns, then it's definitely it's nice to have. And if once you have a considerable amount of money that you don't want to lose, then I'd say you could put 20% in there, 15%. It's really nice to hedge against inflation. So. Mm-hmm. And there is some speculation that it could move up. I know quite a few people that are banking on that. I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
I've been
too
banking
much.
on it for 8 years. I wouldn't bank on it.
Yeah, well, I bought my first silver coin. I was pretty excited about it. Can't remember how old I was. I was probably 14 or 15. I bought my first silver, and I was all excited. There was all these charts and all this stuff, and I don't know. I think it's it actually dropped down from that point. A couple years ago, it was lower than when I bought it when I was 14, and I think it's up a little bit now, but. As far as something stable to hold on to that's not going to see any massive correction, then
Yeah, I definitely FOMO'd into my first silver. My first silver was $50 an ounce.
Oh wow, jeez, when was this?
Right at the top of the market.
Was this a couple years ago?
It was 2010, 2011,
Oh, wow.
2012,
I
sometime in
didn't
there.
even know. Wow. Oh, so you were really young.
Oh yeah, that was my first exposure to silver.
Okay.
Since then I've got quite a bit more at a lot lower.
Mm-hmm.
My cost basis is probably in the low 20s.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
Cool. Yeah, come to think of it, I think I bought my silver shortly after, because my dad was telling me like, yeah, silver crashed, it's half what it used to be. Because I was buying mine, it was like 22 to 23, 25. I don't know what somewhere around there. So I think I bought shortly after that. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that it was ever that high. That's wild.
Yeah, and before that, I mean, it was before the 2000s, but it shot up to actually 120 an ounce.
Oh wow.
It was I want to say the Lehman Brothers, but I might be wrong. They kind of cornered the silver market and manipulated it and shot it way up.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, that's interesting. I've seen a lot of arguments for why it can be great, and I know I can't remember if gold's done. I know gold was doing good at the beginning of last year. I listened to Peter Schiff a lot, and he's always peddling gold and silver. But yeah, I'm sure it's a solid investment, especially if you're just holding a bunch of cash, and it's something that's liquid enough, and it's not going to, like, say I was like holding, 20, 40 grand because I wanted to put a down payment on a house or a rental property, and I just had to hold on to that money for like 6 months to a year, then that might be a really smart place where, maybe you'll make some appreciation. You're not going to deal with deflation or inflation. And it's not going to just like tank like crypto might. So it's low volatility, low returns, secure. So if you're in a situation like that where you have to sit on a lot of cash, then I think it could make a lot of sense. Or if you're if you're already, pretty well off and you're looking to diversify, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while, but I know now that I definitely over allocated into precious metals as far as my portfolio goes. Mm-hmm. And I'm just waiting for my price target till I can sell off some of it, if it doesn't become a smaller percentage of my portfolio by that time,
Yeah.
So
What else are you doing besides the houses or the
houses and crypto?
trailer?
Are you doing anything else? That's kind of a lot, but
yeah, it keeps me pretty busy. I've been working some long days the last little bit. At one point, I had 3 mobile homes at the same time that I was. Well, one of them I was trying to sell, one of them I was remodeling, one of them I was buying. So they keep me pretty busy. Yeah, I was pretty deep into crypto. Back in 2017, and then I got back into it last year. And so I was spending a lot of time researching that. Now I don't spend any time researching crypto just because I've got other things going on. As far as like other like investments, I'm actually closing on a single family home at the end of July. I'm under contract with it, so hopefully it closes. So I'm pretty excited about that. That one's going to be kind of like a live-in flip because the entire basement is unfinished, just completely.
Oh, heck yeah.
It has a bathroom down there that's done nicely, but the rest of it's just unfinished. And so that'll be like a live-in flip. And I'll also do. I don't know if you guys follow. It sounds like. Do you follow Bigger Pockets at all? You've brought up the 1%.
I've definitely done a lot of research with them, but more recently it's been a different life pursuit. But yeah,
okay.
Sort of.
Yeah. So they talk about house hacking a lot, which is like living in a house and renting out the bedrooms. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this house. And it basically covers your living. A lot of times, depending on what the rental rates are, you can have it cover your living expense. Yeah. So that's what I'm planning on doing. And then
get a 3% loan on it and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully we'll see some appreciation. I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it, but
yeah, it's an
I'm buying
time.
I'm buying it with the full intention, like fully expecting the market to tank by 30%, like August 1st after I buy it.
Okay.
I'm planning on, basically if the market tanks, I'm comfortable holding on to it for 3 to 5 years for, things to hopefully recover. So I don't know. It's kind of a scary time to buy, but I have been sitting on the sidelines for a while, and I don't know that Salt Lake's slowing down anytime soon. So
yeah, nobody knows really, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Inventory is just so low, and building costs are so high, and people are moving in like crazy. It just doesn't seem to be slowing down. But I mean, it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying for years now that things are going to crash. I've been all nervous about it, doom and gloom. My buddy bought a house in 2017, like right after we graduated high school. And I was like just so nervous for him. I was like, buddy, things are gonna crash. Like we've been on this tear since 2010. Like I was all nervous about him. And now he has like $100,000 of equity in that house. And
yeah,
so I guess what I'm saying is I don't know. I'm kind of an idiot when it comes to predicting markets.
Same. I've been saying that forever,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, oh, obviously it's gonna crash one day, but
yeah,
hell, who knows?
Yeah,
Just
but I mean, the
prep,
nice part about real estate is, it's able to, as long as you're not super over leveraged and you have enough reserves, typically, if you're buying property right, then, it can at least tread water while you while you wait it out. So, people get in trouble when they're super over leveraged, but if it's a property that, the purchase price versus the rental rates is decent, and you can find a way to make it stay afloat for, a year or two while things come back around, then typically, it seems like you'll be all right. But yeah.
Are you looking to do this for like quite a few years, or settle down and have a family? What's your plan in life?
As far as like my career, or as far as like this particular house?
Just your career with real estate in general.
Yeah. I'm doing well enough at it right now that, I don't really have any better pursuits, right? As far as like changing careers. So I'd imagine I'll do it for a couple years, build up some capital, and I don't know. I love real estate and investing. So if I can do that for the rest of my career, I'll be pretty happy. So I might move, asset classes, like move from mobile homes to mobile home parks, or from mobile homes to single family to duplexes or apartment. I would like to scale up at some point. At a certain point, it makes less. I guess I don't know, because there are some people that are doing a huge number of mobile homes and making a lot of money doing it, but you have to build out an entire team around it. So I don't know. I could scale up in mobile homes or shift to something else, but I think I'll stay in real estate for quite a while. I really enjoy it. So
there you go.
But I don't know if you were asking, like, as far as the home that I'm buying, I'm going to be living there for a minimum of 2 years. With your primary residence, if you live there for 2 years, as your primary, just residence, then you can rent it out for an additional 3. And as long as you don't pass that 3-year mark, or I guess 5 years total, so 2 years living in it, 3 years renting, as long as you don't pass that 5-year mark, you can sell it without paying capital gains on it. Or I'm not sure if it's capital gains or income tax. You save a lot of taxes on it. So I'll live in it for a minimum of 2 years, and then at that point I can either sell it, or if the market's gone down or whatever, then I can rent it out while things come back around or whatever. So
I think it would be capital gains at that point, because you're holding it longer than a year. So it should be, unless real estate's a little different than.
Yeah, I misspoke. So you don't pay taxes on the appreciation on the house. So you don't pay. So with capital gains, if you buy and sell shorter than, or in a smaller time frame than a year, then you pay short-term capital gains, which is basically just income tax.
Yeah.
But if you hold on to it for longer, then it's long-term capital gains. With the houses, if your primary residence, as long as you've lived there for 2 out of 5 years, you don't pay taxes on the appreciation.
So capital gains.
Yeah, well, no capital gains or income tax.
Right.
So it's just tax-free. There's an exclusion, like if it's more than $250,000, then you have to pay taxes on any amount over that.
Right, which isn't likely with a standard single home around here.
No. So yeah, so that I misspoke earlier. I think I was saying no capital gains, but you pay no tax, at least as far as I understand. You pay no taxes on the appreciation. So yeah, that makes a pretty large incentive to stay there for a while.
Dang. So I know you went to a Tony Robbins event one time.
Mm-hmm.
Did that have any bearing on any of this at all?
Yeah, I think everything has bearing on everything,
Fair.
So
fair.
I would say, yeah. It's not something I look back on a lot, but I'm sure there's a lot of things I picked up from there that were just kind of like inherent now,
Right.
I was pretty young when I went. I'm trying to remember. I had to have been.
I don't know how many years ago it was, but
yeah,
it was a while.
I wasn't driving, so. I had to have been like 14 or 15. So it's hard to say, but I'd like to think I think so.
Yeah.
I remember being pretty impressed with the course and pretty excited about it. A lot of just personal development stuff, goal setting, pretty cool stuff to learn. So I'd say yeah, probably more than I realized, I guess would be my answer. But yeah, it was long enough ago that it's hard to say where exactly. But it was a pretty great event. I remember that much of it. I'd like to. Now that I'm older, I would probably get a lot more out of it because I was pretty young. But yeah, I'd say I got a lot from it. Goal setting and just going after what you want. Figuring. So.
Fair enough.
Do you have like a whiteboard that you actually write your goals down on every morning?
Vision board kind of thing?
Yeah.
I don't have a vision. I have when I was younger. I had one. I don't necessarily write down my goals. I'm trying this cool. There's this book I read called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Really cool book. I'd highly recommend it. It's all like just very tactical about like how to achieve certain goals. And so that's what I have on my whiteboard. I have like basically the concept of the book is that we focus on way too many goals. And a lot of achieving your goals is, first of all, narrowing your scope and figuring out what it is you really want. Mm-hmm. And second of all, spending less time on strategy and more time on execution. Because like so many people sit around and talk strategy all day long, and it sounds very important and pompous. But at the end of the day, where things fall through the cracks is execution. And so that's a really interesting book. And so I'm trying that out. It basically takes like your particular goal, they call it a lag measure, and you basically break it down into like, if this goal were being achieved, what are 2 things that would happen as like a benchmark for that? And then out of those benchmarks, you write down like 3 actionable things that you need to, it basically like turns it into a game. So you have like this spreadsheet of things that you have to complete within a week in order to hit your goals. And it basically is saying like, if I complete these list of things on a weekly basis, it's inevitable that I'll achieve this. So it kind of like, I don't know, rewires the way you think about it. So that, I guess that was a really long explanation, but that's what I have on my whiteboard. So yeah, I think goal setting is important. But I have a really hard, I can sit and talk strategy all day long, but at the end of the day, it's getting it done that is the issue for me. Mm-hmm. So that's more what I focus on, because that's really where things fall short for me, is just making it happen, you know?
And you're saying this is called the 4 Pillars of Execution?
The 4 Disciplines of Execution.
Disciplines of Execution.
Yeah, it's a really good read.
I'm going to put that in my notes.
Yeah.
Already did.
Do you do any budgeting or anything like that? Like YNAB?
YNAB? Is that?
Yeah, like,
so
it's
like
called
a
YNAB.
software?
You need a budget.
Oh,
yeah.
You need a budget. No, I don't. I am, if anything, I need to spend more money just to like enjoy myself more, I think. Because like when I started my first business, I think I didn't buy a new pair of pants for like 2 years. And I think I went like 2.5 without buying a new pair of shoes. I was like, I did not spend a dime. I didn't, if my family was going out to eat, I would eat at home and, you know, maybe ride along with, like it was like almost an obsession. So I don't really have a problem not spending money. I try and like force myself to spend money every now and again just so I can, you know, enjoy it. So yeah, I think budgeting is important, but for me, it's never been
an issue.
Even when I was little, one time I went on this, I was invited on this like weird this trip to Washington D.C. It was like junior NYLC or something, just some like conference thing. I was in 6th grade, and I had to like raise a bunch of money to go to it. So I did like these fundraisers and stuff, and I raised I raised all the money to go on it, and then I earned just working. I think I earned like $300 or $400, so I had spending money while I was over there. Mm-hmm. And I was over there for like 10 days, and I came back and I had not bought a single thing, like not a single souvenir, didn't eat out once. And so as long as I can remember, I just don't spend money. So
good problems to have.
Yeah, it's good, but it's also unhealthy to an extent. You know, you need to enjoy.
Have you dated before?
Not super seriously. No, not.
I was gonna say that can get expensive for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, just
find someone who likes saving as much as you.
Yeah. Save me a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think budgeting is really important, especially as my expenses start to go up. Like right now, I'm living pretty cheap because I'm living from home, so my rent is pretty low, and then my food costs are, you know, I eat at home all the time, so I don't have to like budget very much because I've basically got, you know, rent, gas, you know, car and insurance. But as my expenses go up and I've got, you know, utilities and food and, you know, a lot more things that I'm sure I have built one before just to kind of see what my like burn rate is on a monthly basis. Like, you know, this is the amount of money that I would need coming in order to just like sustain this. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good thing to look at, and, you know, but yeah, I think as I get more expenses, I'll definitely start to budget more. But I mean, I think I've heard budgets can actually be really healthy, like on the other end of things, because you can kind of force yourself to enjoy your money and spend it. Like I think that in that sense, it would be beneficial to me because I could have like an entertainment budget or a clothing budget that I would just spend on a monthly basis, you know? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Interesting. I should look into it more, but I never really have. I've always meant to, and I've always known that it was really important, but it just hasn't been a big enough issue for me yet. So I don't know.
Well, if you end up getting one, The app we use is called You Need a Budget.
Oh, it's called the YNAB.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
YNAB for short, but it's
Uh-huh.
called You Need a Budget. I think it costs like $85 a year.
Okay.
And for me, for budgeting purposes, it saves me that much every month at least. You know.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Um,
And does it have like a mobile app that you can use?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can link it to your bank accounts and stuff. The way I use it is I don't link it to anything. I manually enter it whenever I take it out of that checking account.
Oh, okay. Right
just so I can mentally see, because if you just link it, then you can just pull up the app or just not even worry about it. It's not.
Oh, so it stays.
Doesn't
at the top
register
of your mind.
exactly. Doesn't register that you're spending that money. So, man, even if for nothing else, it's very good to know what I'm spending where.
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
it can get away from you pretty quick. You start getting a couple subscriptions and eating out
Yeah,
to lunch every day.
exactly.
and-
Wow.
yeah, it adds up.
Yeah, exactly. Is there, let's see, do you have, another thing we advocate on this podcast is whole life insurance policies. Do you do anything that way?
I'm getting to the point where I need to. I don't have my own policy like that's in my own name.
Right, that you pay for kind of thing?
Yeah, I know because you can take out policies on your kids
Yep.
and still use them, like use the infinite banking concept on them. So I know a lot of agents will like take out policies on their kids just for capacity reasons.
Yeah.
So I know that I have some in my name because I've had to go get a health test, but I've never pulled any money out or put any money in. So I think my dad's just used that for capacity because you can, have a lot more benefits from it. But I'm getting to the point where I should start looking into that. In the past, my income has been so inconsistent where it's like, I'll make, good money and then I switch gears or something changes. So for the last year, things have been, not even the last like 8 months, things have been a lot more consistent.
Yeah.
And I'm to the point where I should start doing something like that, squirreling away some money. Because I actually have like enough that I would like to hang on to and diversify a little bit and not have everything tied up.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I'm a huge fan of them. Huge fan of the policies and what they're able to do. So
That's what I'll be using to get my real estate come August. It should be.
oh, nice.
Yeah. But
So it's just a policy you've been funding for a while, and you'll be
yeah,
able to
I
cash
think
that out.
this is year 2. I've just been trying to
Okay.
max it out every year, and then should be able to fund a down payment from it, or at
Nice.
least part of one.
Yeah, I've heard that's another great way to use policies is if like for down payments, if you've got a chunk of cash sitting that you don't really want to have it in the market, you don't really want to have it somewhere that it could get lost. You have a guaranteed rate and you can just have it sit there. I mean, it
Yeah.
beats a bank account or it's almost comparable to the stock market as well. I guess not this year, but yeah, it's a nice place to sit if you've got a bunch of cash sitting around. So
And that's why I love them so much is you got halfway decent interest rate from it, and you can take loans against it for opportunities such as real estate and things like that.
right. Yeah, as far as liquidity
Yeah.
goes, I mean, it's hard. I mean, I think you can get access to your money within like 24 hours, which, I mean, even if you're holding gold or silver, you'd be hard-pressed to get full market value for it in that time frame, So it's very nice for liquidity, which is a huge, in my opinion, a huge part of like seizing opportunity is being liquid, being able to jump on things, So being
Yeah.
able to have that kind of liquidity is huge. And, the liquidity and the security and then yeah, there's a lot of other benefits that I don't quite understand, but yeah, they're pretty interesting.
It's fun.
Do you do savings at all, or you just have all of your money ready to go at any given moment?
I'm ready to cut a check right now. So I should. Like I said, I know like with how many like finance books, I've been into finance for a really long time. I should have like all these things that you're talking about.
Some reserves.
Yeah, I should have savings account and all this, but everything I just have liquid right now. So
I've heard to have reserves, but I've also heard while you're young, like in your 20s, just fucking get it.
Yeah.
And that's it,
yeah,
Go hard.
Yeah, go
that's
hard.
kind of my mentality. Because when we're this young, I mean, I could lose everything I own right now and recover, within a couple years. It would suck, but later on down the road, you're not going to be able to take those risks when you have a mortgage and a couple kids and a couple cars. It's a lot more difficult. So, yeah, that's kind of my mentality. Is I'll diversify when I'm 35, 40, but for now, it's like any dollar I can make right now is worth like $6, when I'm 40, right?
Right.
So to me, it's like if I can maximize my returns and just just get after it, then, I'm able to take a lot more risk, and it's not going to ruin me. If I have to sleep on a buddy's couch or, figure it out, then it'll be fine. So
It sounds like it's working out really well for you.
yeah, it's doing all right. We'll see where it goes, but
How do you sleep at night? Is it hard ever?
no, I don't know. I compartmentalize stuff pretty well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really stress about it too much.
Seems like most guys' brains are really good at that.
Yeah.
Compartmentalizing things. When I'm on my pillow, it's bedtime.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Luckily, I don't know. I lose sleep over it every once in a while, but I've lost a lot of money before and made it out all right. And this is what kind of has seasoned me is back in 2017, I was 18, and I was working right after I graduated high school. I was working for an excavation company. They were actually excavating up on that Harriman lot, my dad's lot, but I was helping them just over the summer. So I worked for 3 months out there, and basically everything I had saved from there I dumped into crypto because my cousins were really into it and all excited about it and telling me. And that $2,000, so I think I dumped most of the money in the end of summer. It was like late August or September. And in October, I remember this, for some reason it sticks out really clearly. I was actually up at Grandma Linda's house. I had like $2,500 was my portfolio. And by January by the end of the year, I think it was like January 15th or something, I had grown that to be $45,000.
Wow.
At the beginning of January. So I made like $40,000 in a couple months, and I was still going to school full time, working part time. And so I thought I had life figured out. I was like, well, I'm never going to have to work again. Yeah, this will be $1 million by the end of the week. And I was just set, and it all went to my head. I was just all pumped about it, like thinking I'm a genius. And the market started to turn, and within, I think it was like 48 hours, I lost everything, like my entire investment, everything I'd worked for that summer, and the $45,000 that I had made. And
here's a piece of humble pie, motherfucker.
Yeah, it humbled me up very quickly. And so that, I don't know, like figuring out that, like, I mean, you can make a lot of money, you can lose a lot of money, but I mean, as long as you're learning and growing and I feel like it'll always come around. So I mean, it's a lot easier to take risks right now, I guess, is what I'm saying, because I mean, you can recover pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's been something we're all understanding too. Not quite that hefty of a learning lesson, but we've all been paying some learning tuition with stocks, cryptos, things like that.
Yeah.
Learning all about it. So
yeah, it's pretty brutal. Yeah, it hurts, especially, when you're this young and, you've seen every one of those dollars come into your account, and you know what you did to earn those, and seeing that go down, but it's part of the game, If there wasn't risk, then there wouldn't be any kind of a return,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, I sure hope it rips again this year. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, here's hoping. I'm on the same side of the same team, because I just barely dumped a bunch more in, so I'm hoping so, but we'll see.
It'll be interesting. One way or another, I'm in it till I see my gains. So
yeah, I think it'll come around eventually.
Just staking.
Yeah,
but,
I think it'll come around. We'll see, but it makes a lot of sense. I don't know. It just makes so much sense for it not to come around.
Just based on all the history.
Well, yeah.
All the other cycles.
I don't know. It just seems archaic that we still use like paper dollar bills to exchange currency.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely come around over time.
Yeah.
I'm talking like this year.
Oh.
This year, even into next, it's like, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I think long term it'll be all right, but yeah, you gotta be pretty patient with it if it doesn't. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be a few years, but that's all right. That's why staking is awesome.
Yeah. If you're able to make returns on, I guess it's a lower. That's interesting. So if your portfolio drops, you're not making quite as much staking, but you're getting paid out in those.
You're getting paid the same amount of coins,
right? But
so when it comes back around, you'll be fine.
Right, because you're getting paid out in the tokens, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that's what I like. Because when I was making 12% staking, I was really making, probably 60%, because the token. Well, maybe not. That might be an exaggeration. Maybe like 30%, because the token was appreciating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're getting paid out, because some of them will just pay out. Like, you'll sign up for like a 3 or 6 month term, and then they'll just pay out at the end of it, or something weird like that. So it kind of depends on what system you're using.
Yeah, I think mine, if I unstake it, I think an Epic is every 18 hours or something for it. So it's pretty nice. I'm in Harmony 1, by the way.
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah, it's in the top 100, but pretty low.
Are you saying that's a token?
It's a token.
Oh, I thought
yeah.
that was the exchange. Oh, Harmony One.
No,
Yeah, I
the
haven't heard of
exchange
that.
I'm using is Garda Wallet, is what it's called.
I haven't heard of that either.
But anyway, yeah, it's something I got stuck in when I was doing some day trading with cryptos.
Yeah. Nice.
Doing really good on it, and then
Mhm.
decided to stay in this one because I got my numbers, and I was like, I'll wait for a second. Looks like it's still going up, and it just tanked on me, and I haven't been able to get back up to that point since. Bought in right after it went on a 30x run.
Oof. Yeah, that's
unknowingly.
brutal. It's Harmony One.
Harmony One. Oh yeah, it's
I'll have to take a
definitely
look at it.
much further down than when I bought in, but
Yeah.
it's all right.
Yeah, you can get burned on those pretty bad. They also let you do another thing that will lose you a lot of money. They do
leverage trading.
I was just about to say leverage trading.
Yeah.
I was
Ugh.
trading I can't remember if it was I think they let me do up to almost 100x leverage on Binance. I think I was trading 20 to 50% leverage on a couple $1,000s, and man, it's addicting. It's just wild because you're trading with a portfolio size of a couple $100,000 if if you're leveraged enough, and so it's wild. But I would advise against it.
Agreed.
I made a lot doing it and then just wiped it all out in an afternoon. It's brutal. But
Yeah. Same. You can make $600 in 15 minutes or lose everything in just the same amount of time.
Yeah, it's brutal. So it's fun to put money in crypto. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. I was probably 99.5% of my portfolio was in crypto earlier this year. I was just everything I owned was in crypto.
Yeah.
And it panned out really well. But I would never recommend that anybody does that. So the same thing with the diversification thing. If any of you guys asked me, I'd say, yeah, diversify. You should be safe. But for me, it's I don't know. I put everything in. So
Balls deep.
Yeah. I don't know. I get excited about it and just dump everything in there, all in. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do too. When I get excited about something, everything goes towards it.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, as far as my case goes, I've done that a couple times over the years, and now I've got a sort of diversified portfolio.
Yeah.
Definitely over diversified in some of them, but
yeah,
it's been fun.
Well, as long as they're as long as they're not in cash, and as long as they're working,
They're not in cash and they're working.
Yeah, yeah, better than nothing. Most people are making 0.2% on a savings account, So
if that, yeah.
If you can get it moving, and your money's moving, and you're also learning. So over time, your returns will improve, hopefully, and So yeah.
And they have been. Like I was saying, I was looking at the real estate stuff, reading all about that for about a year.
Uh-huh.
And then most recently, I did a rip on the stock market, trying to learn all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to school now, and I wanted some sort of income while I'm going to school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
are you not?
Yeah.
You're not working.
I do not have a job right now.
Okay.
No, I'm unemployed.
You're full time in school.
I
Right?
am.
Okay. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Generally 6 days a week.
Oh wow.
It's been fun.
You're online right now, or you're in person?
Both. Yeah.
A little bit. Okay.
A lot of the ground schooling is online, and then flying is in person.
Yeah,
So.
I'd imagine it has to be.
Yeah.
It seems. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. You guys have any other questions for the
I feel like we covered a
the
lot.
Bailey? We did cover a lot. I'm loving it. It's freaking cool.
I'm glad I was talking a lot, so hopefully.
We need to talk to you more.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely.
Seems
need
like
to,
you've got a good wealth of knowledge we could learn from.
Here's hoping,
We could use you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If I can help out in any way, it's hard to say that things have panned out pretty well so far, but I haven't I'm sure you guys have plenty of experience in other areas that I haven't experienced.
It would be very fun to talk back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a
about it
blast.
all.
Absolutely. I don't see you guys near enough. And you're actually just right up the road. I forget how close. Because I used to be in South Jordan, and you were probably, 20 minutes, probably a little more than 20 minutes. But here in South Jordan, you're, 10, 15 minutes away. So.
Yeah, where are you at now? You're in Harriman, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
just up the road.
Awesome. Is there any place that you would like the listeners to find you or anything like that?
Not really.
Any social medias, anything?
I'm not really on social media. Yeah, I don't know.
Any websites that you got that
No.
you might recommend? Okay.
Life
just fun.
advice, whatever.
Yeah, final life advice for the listeners.
Parting words.
Not that we won't have you on again, but
Yeah, I'll be prepared for. I feel like if I'm saying life advice, it has to be something pretty quality. So.
it doesn't have to be.
But as far as
you can just be like, hey, don't forget to wipe your bum.
I always recommend people read, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's like probably what kickstarted like most of my interest in real estate. I read that pretty young.
Yeah.
Richest Man in Babylon's another good classic one.
That's our Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good book. And then also I would recommend reading that 4 Disciplines of Execution book. It's not like it's not like in story form like those other ones. So it's might be a little bit more difficult to get through because it's just like super tactical. Like it's not really.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. But yeah, I really like that one. I'm pretty jazzed up on that. So I don't have a lot of real results to show for it because I'm just trying it out. But yeah, the concept's really cool. So.
Well, it seems like you're executing quite nicely. So.
Yeah. We'll see.
It's working out. Awesome.
Cool.
And then for the listeners, don't forget to check out our website, infinitysummitgroup.com. You can get some merch there. We are going to be getting coins soon. Probably, what was it, month and a half, 2 months?
Yeah.
I think. So not that soon, but soon.
Enough.
And you guys can get those as well. Come with a little message, kind of tell you what we're all about, and we'll go from there. But anything else,
comment,
boys?
Subscribe.
Yeah,
Do all
don't
that.
like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah,
Of course.
appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
We'll see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Toodles.